Hi and welcome to my tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you the basic parts of a motherboard. Motherboard looks a little like this. It consists of pretty much 5 parts that you need to really recognize. Actually make that 6 parts. So the first part would be the CPU. And the CPU, or processor, sometimes called processor, this is actually the CPU slot that I drew. Usually you'll see a fan on top of it, and it's just really bulky fan with like a cooler underneath it. That's because the thing gets so hot. The processor pretty much tells the information where to go in the computer. It'll either send it to the RAM or the video card or your hard drive, depending on what the information contains. The next thing we need to go over is RAM. This is your memory module. You pretty much put your RAM into that. It slides right in and clicks in. You'll notice in the middle of that there's a little notch, and that'll stop you from putting the wrong RAM in and destroying your computer. So what RAM or memory does is, it's like when it does a calculation and it needs to temporarily remember a number, but doesn't need to store it on a hard drive, just needs to remember it for later points in a program, it'll put it there and hold it there until it's ready to use it. Normally when you run a bunch of programs, your RAM will get overloaded and it will slow down your computer, but usually RAM's not an issue when you have 3 to 4 gigs. The next thing we're going to go over is the power connector. This is the main power connector. You cannot start your this thing needs to be plugged into the power supply, which is usually that big box in there. This gives power to everything. Then PCI slots, or otherwise known as PC card connectors. They vary in sizes, shapes, colors, just like the RAM. I forgot to mention that the RAM, it's the same thing. They come in many colors and many different kind of settings. They just found it over the years it's better to build it like this than like that, and we'll be going over that. And the next thing we need to go over is the IDE connectors, or hard drive connectors. This is the olden day way of connecting your hard drives. The newer way is the SATA connector, which is down below here. The older way, you still find hard drives, you'll find DVD drives all over the place that have these connectors. The smaller one here, that is the one for the floppy, and that's actually called a floppy connector, not an IDE connector. These come in various colors. The SATA connectors are the newer ones. You pretty much just plug and go and it's ready. Not hard to do, and a lot of them lock in and they have a special button. Way better, way more compact. The layout of this motherboard that I've drawn on here for you, this motherboard is pretty much a standard layout for every motherboard. As you can see, this is something that you might have in your computer that looks green and has the layout, but if you can look at my drawings here, all the stuff is pretty much right where it needs to be. And I can tell this is an older PC just by looking in this corner here. I see these slots. These are very old slots that they don't use anymore. These are the newer ones. They have even newer ones. The design is always in this setup. So when you're looking at a motherboard and you don't know what's what, this is where what you're looking for. This is what you need to know and understand when you're building your computer. Notice how it doesn't have a SATA connector in this corner? That's because, it's an older board. SATA's a newer thing. So let's go on to the next one. Same thing, different color, it's brown. This is a more newer board, and you'll notice these are actually SATA connectors here, but they're L-shaped, which come out the side. This is where you connect your fan and processor, and and they even come in different colors. They come in many shapes, colors, different layouts. Sometimes things are a little more different than other things. Like this doesn't really have a SATA, but it's got all the new stuff. So when you're looking for a motherboard, you want to pay attention to some of these things, and you'll notice this PCI is different, a different length. That's something maybe you want to take a picture of before you go in and buy parts in a computer store, so they know a good idea of what you're looking for. So okay, and that is my tutorial for today. I will be doing other tutorials on the CPU and what it does, further information. I'll be doing further information to video cards. But this by the way is where you would connect a very good video card. These are really typical in high-speed gaming computers. I'll be going over those in a lot of detail. I'll be going over RAM, and I'll be going over different drives and all kinds of things that would help you understand how your computer operates. And I'm going to do this in a way where I'm explaining it to my kids as well. So I hope this was informative, and until then, I'll just see you next time.